Hello classmate, my name is Jermaine Lopez. I am going to share how to use the filter input function. Definition and usage. The filter input function gets an external variable from form input and optional filter. This function is used to validate variables for insecure sources, such as user input. The next one, we have the syntax of our function. In the first place, we have the filter input, the name of our function, followed by parentheses. Into the parentheses, we have the type of the function. This value is required. The input type to check for can be one of the following: input get, input post, input cookie, input server, input INV. In our case, we have used get and post to this type our function. The next one is the variable name. In our case, is the client email. This part of the function is required. The next one is the filter. The filter is optional. Specify the ID of the name of the filter to use. Default is filter default, will result in no filtering. And the next one, we have the option. This part of the function is optional. Specify one or more flag option to use. Check each filter for possible option or flags. The next one is the technical details. Return value. The filter input return true is the variable on success. Return false on failure. Or null if the variable is not set. The PHP version is 5.2 plus. The next one, we have an example of this filter input function. In the first place, we have the form. At the top of my screenshot, I have the form with the email, name, and the input with type text. If the name of this variable is client email. In the second one, we have the button with type submit. This is our form. And the next one, we have the most important of our code. Start with an if statement to use the method get to make connection with our name of the variable. Instead determine if a variable is defined or is declared and is different than the null. In the next one, we have another if statement with a filter with our filter input. The type of this function is input get. This is because we use the method get in our form. And we also use the get method in this part. Then we have the name of the variable. In this case, we filter validate email. If you see, we use the email. And also I have this part into my code, but you can see much better in the website. Now we need to see if this works, right? I put some text that is not email. If I click on and submit, the email is not valid. But if I put a real email and submit that, the email is valid. If I use Tony Stark email, this email is valid. But if I use another one that is not an email, the email is not valid. The next one, we have the same code in this part, but in this case we are used the method post. If you see in this part in our code, the method is post. And then we need to change the method in this part of our if statement. And also we need to use input post in our part of the filter input. All of the code the same. Our variable is the same, and the last part of our function is the same. Now we need to prove our email is not valid. If I put a real email, this email is valid. This email is valid and not valid. We can use get and post depend of your depend of your you need to use. Depend if your case you need to use post and get. Our classmate we can give us more information about post and get. The only that the change is the method that you need to use. This is my presentation. Thank you, classmate.